wish I had a phone I could care about privacy for a week on and then switch back to Google everything. Ooh. So here's my personal Pixel 7 Pro that I used from 2022. Now this thing is, it's not in the best shape. I dropped it on the pavement and the screen shattered, but I have a plastic screen protector over it, so it should be fine. And after 3 years on contract, I went into the store, asked for it to be unlocked, and now we can unlock the bootloader. So let's install GrapheneOS on this thing. I am gonna miss Material 3 Expressive though. This is a really nice design. Please just break. Now, I gotta be honest here, this isn't my first experience with GrapheneOS. That thing I said in the intro about using it for a week and then going back to Google everything, that basically boils down my experience with this. If I remember correctly, it's super easy to install the operating system, but you start to run into like small little issues inside the OS itself. But let me just clarify, that was my experience with GrapheneOS, and that was like 2 years ago at this point anyways, so maybe things have changed. Let's find out. Oh yeah, the web installer. I think you just click on this, hit install, and you're done. Oh, okay, seems like it's a bit more involved than that. Alright, what do we need? 2 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of disk space. Oh, that's a hard requirement to meet. Plug in a USB-C to C cable into the computer itself. And Brave with Brave Shields disabled. Ooh, thanks for clarifying. We gotta enable OEM unlocking, which we did at the start of the video. You got some Linux moments down here, and ooh, okay, booting into the bootloader interface. Hold the volume down button while the device boots. The phone's off, so we hit the power button and the volume down. That did it. And now we connect the device to the computer and hit shiny buttons. Perfect. First button is to unlock the bootloader, and how is it going to find the device? Oh, okay, it's got this prompt right here. This kind of reminds me of like Android Flash tool on the web. Oh, and it's even got a little status message right here. That's helpful. Next step is to obtain the factory images, which I don't even think we have to download anything. We just click this button and the installer handles it, right? Yeah. And then we scroll down and hit Flash, and is that really it? And 5 minutes later, we have GrapheneOS flash to our device. Okay, now time for the last step, which we just locked the bootloader for, I guess, security. And past that, yeah, just a bunch of schizophrenic stuff. Okay, we're done with the install. Okay, so now let's just hit start and take a look at GrapheneOS. Nice. Welcome to GrapheneOS, privacy and security crafted for your mobile device, usable by everyone. You know, except people in France. I'm also noticing Material 3 Expressive icons in the corner, so does GrapheneOS actually have Material 3 Expressive support? That'd be pretty cool. Connect to Wi-Fi, and of course they turned Wi-Fi off by default. And the default keyboard on this device seems like it's straight out of stock Android. I mean, there is an emoji button, so maybe they customized it, but I guess we'll find it out later. Set a pin. Pin number must be at least 4 digits. Really? You guys allow 4 digits on a privacy and security focused ROM? That's kind of surprising. I mean, if somebody flashes this ROM specifically, and chooses to have 4 digits as a pin, I guess it's just user error at that point. May as well just give them the choice. Set up fingerprint unlock. Oh, you know what? That's right. The Pixel 7 Pro has an under display fingerprint reader. Will it even still work with this cracked display? Oh, I guess so. You can opt into security preview releases, which provide early access to Android security patches. Sure, that's pretty cool. And that's it for the setup. Didn't ask me to set up an account once. Whoa, that's basic. So, first things first, does this support Material 3 Expressive? Ooh, it does. It's even got the nice haptics that the Google software has as well, so that's a nice touch. So I guess now we'll just start digging into some of the apps pre-installed on the phone. First up, I guess we'll just take a look at the basic messaging and phone apps. Yeah, these are pretty much the exact ones from AOSP. The app names for these are a dead giveaway. They're straight from AOSP. Nothing too special here. But one of the coolest things about owning a Pixel is the nice camera these things have, so please tell me you're not using the god-awful camera app from AOSP. Ooh, okay, good, it's customized. Unfortunately, though, you lose some of the magic Google processing when it comes to the pictures, so maybe we can install like Gcam or something on this. Speaking of which, this ROM has a dedicated app store. We got all the apps pre-installed on the phone, a Crescent, Android Auto, Google Play Store, really? And Play Services. Alright, I'm curious, why is this in here? According to the subscription, Google Play Services is run in a sandbox and isn't given admin control of your phone, which admin control of your phone is usually how Google Play Services work, so yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess we'll take a look at it. Don't worry, dry your tears. I'll take a look at FOSS apps in a sec. Alongside the Play Store, though, there's also this other app store called a Crescent. No idea how this differs to F-Droid, but I guess we'll take a look. Oh, and when installing apps on the phone, you can just not allow it to connect to the internet at all. That's a peak feature, especially for something like Gboard. I don't want Gboard, like, sending my data off to Google. And the phone is warm. Tenser moment. And after the update, we have 5 notifications from Google Play. Fine, dude, I'll set it up, okay? Stop. It doesn't even have permissions to install unknown apps by default. That's amazing. Now, while you could use Aurora Store on this phone to install third-party apps that are not on F-Droid and stuff like that, the GrapheneOS developers actually recommend that you sign into a Google account and use the Play Store for security. Uh-oh, looks like Play Store is trying to install device configuration. Do you want to install this app? Well, thanks for asking. No. It feels so good to just tell Google to piss off. It's amazing. I'm starting to like this OS a whole lot. Apps like YouTube actually require you to have Google Play services installed to run, and if you don't, the app will just crash, so I wonder if this will work. Let's also install Gboard on this thing just because I like the responsiveness, but does a keyboard really need an internet connection? Yeah, I knew it. The GrapheneOS keyboard was AOSP. This keyboard makes this phone much more daily drivable, but speaking of daily driving, can we watch YouTube on this thing? Oh wow, it doesn't immediately crash. And using an app that requires Google Play services works just fine. This is honestly the best part of GrapheneOS for me, still being able to use all the services I would in my daily life, but putting a limit to how much it can access. GrapheneOS also gives you 2 extra permissions stock Android doesn't, the sensors and the network permission, which I already went over the network permission, but you can toggle it here instead of just when you're installing the app. I really want to improve the camera quality as well, so let's take a look at Pixel Camera before we move on to the FOSS stuff. And it looks exactly like the camera app on the stock Google firmware. Oh, really? We gotta install Google Photos to make use of that button? Fine, okay, I'll do it the normal way. The GrapheneOS one takes okay pictures, but you can tell the colors and the graininess. It's not really on point, but the Pixel camera just nails it. I think that's enough closed source for now. Let's start taking a look at some free and open source apps. Huh? What's that, voices? Throw away your schizophrenic medication? Oh, okay then. Organic Maps Offline Map. Oh, okay, so I guess this is the alternative to Google Maps, right? Well, they were completely honest with the app name. This is a completely offline map of the world. But what I need out of a map app is real-time navigation, so let's try to set something up like that. Alright, so we tap somewhere on the map, and we do a route from, we tap again, and I'm guessing route to. I gotta download another map just later. Okay, and how do I do real-time navigation? This UI kinda sucks. Oh, okay, so you click a button and you hit back, and then it pops up. Navigation is only available from your current location. Okay, so I just can't do that then? So when trying to get navigation to work, I rebooted the app, gave it precise location permission, and it just can't find my location to do real-time navigation. So, in summary, just use Google Maps. Next up, Beauty TXT, and for an app called Beauty, the icon choice is kind of questionable. Come on, developer, this app icon has to be a joke, because you actually have good design in the app itself with Material 3. And as promised, it's a pretty simple text editor, but you know what, for what it lacks in features, it also lacks the need to make an account, pay a monthly subscription. You know what, I could just keep going for hours. Aside from those two I just showcased, the rest of the apps on Crescent are just kind of like niche use case apps, which I'm not really interested in, so let's hit up F-Droid instead. Oh, by the way, quick disclaimer, the GrapheneOS devs recommend against using F-Droid, mainly because of the same security concerns that Aurora Store has. The way that's recommended for securely updating your apps is downloading this app called Obtainium and then adding the GitHub release page to Obtainium so you can manually update the apps themselves. Or you can just get a job, you know, one of the two. I'm joking around because 99% of people do not need to do that, but for the 1% who really need it, the option is appreciated. Anyways, let's just keep taking a look at what's on F-Droid. Oh cool, they put VR Chat Android Assistant right next to Med Timer. That's fitting. No way, there's Ruffle on F-Droid? This actually lets us play Flash content natively on Android. I mean, Flash actually got killed for being insecure, so it's kind of counterintuitive, but I'm assuming Ruffle has some sort of protection against that, right? Oh, that's so cool. Apollo. Oh, you know what? This is the music player from CyEngineMod. Let's try that out. What a banger. It's pretty neat to use a local media player on this thing and play music whenever you want, but let's be honest here, most people use streaming services for the convenience, so can we get something like that working for free? There is this one music streaming called Create, and you know, because of the platform I'm on, I'm not going to say exactly how it works, but trust me, it'll work. Here's the homepage, so let's search up Passer Gran Turismo. The UI could be a bit better here, but honestly, I'm just glad that it's working. So that's GrapheneOS on the Pixel 7 Pro. Honestly, I'm really impressed with this operating system. Now there's two ways you could use this operating system. One, you can have convenience in your life and just use the Play Store in a sandbox that gives you enough privacy. Or you could take the Richard Stallman approach where you allow nothing closed source on your phone with Obtainium and a Crescent. However, if you go with free and open source software, you're going to notice some annoyances, mainly because the people who make the software, it's just like one or two people. You don't have like the dedicated teams that bigger apps do. It really just boils down to how much tolerance you have for messing around with your phone and fixing stuff, but really at the end of the day, if you want privacy across the board, GrapheneOS is a must-have. Anyways, thanks for watching it. Let me know down in the comments, what other videos do you want me to do on Android phones, iPhones, or just tech in general? Alright, I'll see you later.